Jessica Whitman seemingly had it all: a successful attorney, a beautiful home, a loving husband, yet, behind the facade of her perfect life, a silent storm brewed.
Loneliness had become a constant companion.
Her husband David, a driven surgeon, was often absent. He was consumed by his work. Their conversations were strained. They lacked intimacy.
I felt like a trophy wife, admired but not truly seen.
The silence in their sprawling home was deafening. It amplified Jessica's feelings of isolation.
I found myself yearning for connection, for passion, for something more.
Her life had become a gilded cage. She was trapped in a world of luxury and suffocating routine. One rainy afternoon, as she sat alone in her impeccably decorated living room, Jessica felt a profound sense of emptiness wash over her. She longed for a change, an escape. Little did she know, fate had a plan. The art gallery was abuzz with the city's elite. The air was filled with the hum of conversations, the clinking of glasses, and the soft melodies of a string quartet playing in the background. It was an evening where the city's most influential figures gathered to appreciate art, and perhaps more importantly, to be seen. Jessica, attending out of habit more than anything else, found herself drawn to a captivating portrait. The painting seemed to speak to her, its vibrant colors and intricate details pulling her in. She stood there, lost in thought, contemplating the emotions the artwork evoked within her.
It seems we share a taste for the exquisite, miss. His voice was smooth, with a hint of curiosity and admiration.
Jessica, she replied, her voice steady but with a hint of intrigue.
She replied, turning to face the speaker. Her eyes met his, and she was momentarily taken aback by his striking appearance. He was handsome, with piercing blue eyes and a disarming smile. His presence was magnetic, drawing her in with an almost irresistible force.
Marcus Steele, I must say, you possess an equally keen eye for beauty. His compliment was genuine, and it made her feel special, as if he had seen something in her that others had overlooked.
Jessica found herself captivated by his charm, unable to look away. His words were like a melody, soothing and enchanting, a stark contrast to David's reserved nature. David, her longtime companion, was always so composed and distant, never quite able to connect with her on a deeper level. Marcus was attentive, engaging her in conversation about art, travel, and life's passions. He spoke with such enthusiasm and passion that it was infectious, making her feel alive and invigorated. He listened intently as she spoke, making her feel seen and understood in a way she hadn't in years. His eyes never left hers, and she felt a connection forming, something she had longed for but never found. As the evening progressed, Jessica felt a spark ignite within her. It was a feeling she had almost forgotten, a sense of excitement and possibility, a flicker of excitement she hadn't felt in a long time. It was as if Marcus had awakened something deep within her, a part of her that had been dormant for far too long. Marcus was like a breath of fresh air, awakening a part of her that had long been dormant. His presence was invigorating, and she found herself looking forward to what the future might hold. In the weeks that followed, Jessica found herself drawn to Marcus like a moth to a flame. She couldn't quite pinpoint what it was about him that captivated her so completely. Was it his confident demeanor, his easy smile, or the way he seemed to understand her in a way no one else did? He showered her with attention, making her feel like the center of his universe. Every glance, every touch, every word was carefully crafted to make her feel special, cherished, and desired. He sent her flowers, each bouquet more beautiful than the last, with notes that made her heart flutter. These gestures were not just tokens of affection, they were symbols of his growing influence over her. He whisked her away on romantic weekends to secluded cabins and cozy getaways where they could be alone, away from the prying eyes of the world. These moments were like stolen treasures, precious and fleeting. He filled the void in her life with laughter and excitement, bringing a sense of joy and spontaneity that she had long forgotten. They danced in the living room, laughed at inside jokes, and enjoyed each other's company in a way that felt both exhilarating and comforting.
For the first time in years, I felt truly alive. It was as if Marcus had breathed new life into me, awakening parts of myself that I thought were lost forever.
Their clandestine meetings became more frequent, their conversations more intimate. They met in secluded cafes, whispered secrets in dimly lit bars, and shared their dreams and fears in quiet corners of the world. Marcus confessed to being a writer, sharing his work with Jessica and seeking her opinion. He valued her thoughts, making her feel important and respected. She became his muse, inspiring his creativity and fueling his passion for writing. He made her feel like his muse, his confidant. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day as they shared their innermost thoughts and dreams. He painted a picture of a shared future, one filled with adventure and passion. They dreamed of traveling the world together, exploring new places, and creating a life that was full of excitement and love.
I tried to resist the allure, the undeniable chemistry between us, but it was like trying to hold back the tide. The more I fought it, the stronger it became. The undeniable chemistry between us was impossible to ignore. Every glance, every touch, every word exchanged between us only deepened the connection we shared.
She knew she was playing with fire, risking everything she held dear. The guilt gnawed at her, but the pull of Marcus's charm was too strong to resist. She was risking everything she held dear, her marriage, her family, her sense of self. The weight of her actions pressed heavily on her, but the allure of Marcus's charm was a powerful drug that clouded her judgment. But Marcus was intoxicating. His charm, a powerful drug that clouded her judgment. His presence was like a balm to her soul, soothing her loneliness and filling her with a sense of belonging. He became her escape, her solace from the suffocating loneliness of her marriage. In his arms, she found a refuge, a place where she could be herself without fear or judgment. With each stolen moment, Jessica fell deeper under his spell, her heart torn between her desires and her conscience. The conflict within her grew as she struggled to reconcile her feelings for Marcus with the life she had built. As the weeks morphed into months, a seed of doubt began to grow in Jessica's mind. She couldn't pinpoint exactly when it started, but the feeling was undeniable. It was like a shadow that followed her everywhere, whispering uncertainties into her ear. There were inconsistencies in Marcus's stories, vague details about his past that he brushed aside. Each time she asked for more information, he would change the subject or give a non-committal answer. It was as if he was hiding something, and the more she thought about it, the more convinced she became. His phone calls were often shrouded in secrecy, his demeanor shifting to one of guarded unease. He would step out of the room to take calls, lowering his voice to a whisper. Jessica couldn't help but wonder who he was talking to and why he was being so secretive.
One evening, while sharing a romantic dinner, I noticed an expensive watch on Marcus's wrist, a stark contrast to his claimed writer's lifestyle. It was a small detail, but it stood out to me. How could a struggling writer afford such a luxury?
When she questioned him about it, he became evasive, his charm momentarily replaced by a flash of anger. He accused her of being paranoid, of not trusting him, but his reaction only fueled her suspicions. Later that night, back in her empty house, Jessica couldn't shake off the nagging feeling that something wasn't right. She replayed their conversations in her mind, looking for clues, for anything that might explain his behavior.
I began to question everything. Every word he said, every gesture he made. I even started to doubt my own judgment. Was I being overly suspicious, or was there something truly amiss? Was Marcus who he claimed to be? Or was he hiding a part of himself that he didn't want me to see? Was I blinded by my own loneliness, my desperation for connection? I had been so eager to find love, to fill the void in my life, that I might have overlooked the red flag.
Fear gnawed at her. It was a fear of the unknown, of what she might discover if she dug deeper. But it was also a fear of losing the man she had come to care for so deeply. She had risked everything for this man, this love that felt so real, so intense. She had opened her heart to him, shared her dreams and fears. The thought of it all being a lie was almost too much to bear. But what if it was all a lie? What if Marcus was not the man he pretended to be? The possibility haunted her, making her question everything she thought she knew. The thought sent chills down her spine, a cold premonition of the danger that lay ahead. She knew she had to find out the truth, no matter how painful it might be. The uncertainty was eating her alive, and she couldn't live like this any longer. Marcus wasn't who he pretended to be. He was a man of many faces, each one more convincing than the last. A wolf in sheep's clothing, blending seamlessly into his surroundings. He was a chameleon, a master of disguise, an artist of deception. His ability to change his appearance and mannerisms was uncanny. His life was a stage, and he played his roles flawlessly. Each character he embodied was meticulously crafted, leaving no room for doubt. Behind the charming smile and the soulful eyes lurked a predator, a man with a dual personality, capable of switching from warmth to coldness in an instant, a con man preying on vulnerable hearts. He had a knack for identifying those who were most susceptible to his charms. He sought out women like Jessica, successful, trusting, and perhaps a little lonely. Women who had achieved much in their professional lives but were still searching for personal fulfillment. His past was a trail of shattered lives and broken promises. Each relationship he entered was a carefully orchestrated performance, ending in heartbreak. He moved from town to town, leaving a wake of devastation in his wake. Each departure was as sudden as his arrival, leaving his victims in a state of shock and confusion. He was a ghost, disappearing before his victims even realized they had been played. But Jessica was different. She was more perceptive, more cautious. She was starting to see through his facade. The cracks in his perfect persona were beginning to show, and she was determined to uncover the truth. Jessica began to dig deeper, researching his past and finding clues that others had missed. She was piecing together the puzzle of Marcus's true identity. The confrontation was inevitable. Jessica knew she had to face him, to expose the man behind the mask. And when she did, Marcus's world of deceit began to crumble. In the end, it was Jessica's determination and resilience that brought Marcus down. She walked away, leaving him to face the consequences of his actions. Jessica was initially blinded by Marcus's charm. He was everything she thought she wanted, attentive, charming, and successful. He swept her off her feet, showering her with affection and attention. He listened to her dreams and fears, or so she thought. He mirrored her desires, creating an illusion of a perfect match. But slowly, doubts began to creep in. Small inconsistencies, vague answers about his past, missed calls from unknown numbers. A gnawing feeling in the pit of her stomach told her something wasn't right. The tension was palpable. They sat facing each other, the air thick with unspoken words. Jessica's heart pounded in her chest. His eyes, once warm and inviting, now seemed cold and calculating. The mask was slipping.
"There's something you're not telling me,"
she said, her voice trembling slightly. He offered a practiced smile. Denials rolled off his tongue, but they rang hollow in Jessica's ears. She knew. She saw the truth in his eyes. The man she loved was a lie. Jessica made a choice. She wouldn't be another victim. She would fight back. She contacted Detective Laura Marquez, a woman known for her tenacity and her unwavering dedication to justice. They met in a quiet corner of a bustling coffee shop.
"This is my story."
Jessica recounted her story, her voice shaking with a mix of fear and anger. Marquez listened intently, her sharp eyes missing nothing. A plan began to form. They would use Jessica's position as bait, a dangerous game, but one they were determined to win. The sting operation was fraught with risk. One wrong move, one slip-up could put Jessica in danger.
But I was resolute. I would see this through. I owed it to myself. I owed it to the other women Marcus had hurt.
Under the watchful eyes of Marquez and her team, Jessica made contact with Marcus. They arranged a meeting, a final act in their twisted play. Her heart raced with a mix of fear and adrenaline. This was it. The trap was set. The bust was a blur of flashing lights and shouting voices. The air crackled with tension.
No, this can't be happening.
Marcus's calm facade shattered. He lashed out, his rage palpable.
"I arm."
Jessica, caught in the fray, felt a sharp pain in her arm. Then, silence. Marcus lay on the ground, his eyes filled with a mixture of shock and fury. Handcuffs snapped shut. Justice swift and brutal. Jessica's knees buckled. She had won, but at a cost. The road to recovery was long and arduous. Each step forward felt like a monumental effort, but they knew it was necessary. They had to keep moving, no matter how difficult it seemed. The physical wound healed quickly, the body mending itself with time and care. The visible scars faded, leaving behind only faint reminders of the pain. But the emotional scars ran deep, hidden beneath the surface. They were not as easily mended, lingering in the quiet moments and unexpected triggers. She was haunted by nightmares, vivid and relentless. Each night brought a new terror, a fresh reminder of the trauma she had endured. Her sense of security shattered, leaving her constantly on edge. Every noise, every shadow felt like a threat. She withdrew from the world, finding it too overwhelming to face. The isolation was both a comfort and a prison. Seeking solace in the comfort of her home, she wrapped herself in familiar surroundings, hoping to find some peace.
I just need some time, David. Everything feels so broken. I don't know how to put the pieces back together.
David, her husband, stood by her side, unwavering in his support. He was her rock, her anchor in the storm. A beacon of strength and support, he offered her a steady hand and a listening ear. He was determined to help her through this.
I should have seen through Marcus's facade. I should have known something was wrong. I should have protected you. I failed you, and I'm so sorry.
Their marriage, strained by the ordeal, began to heal. They leaned on each other, finding strength in their shared love and commitment. They were determined to rebuild their lives, stronger and more united than before. Together, they faced the future with hope and resilience, ready to pick up the pieces and move forward. Marcus's trial was swift. The evidence was overwhelming. Witnesses came forward, each testimony more damning than the last. The prosecution laid out a meticulous case, leaving no room for doubt. He was found guilty on all counts. The courtroom was filled with a tense silence as the verdict was read. Faces showed a mix of relief and sorrow, knowing justice was served, but at a great emotional cost. He became a ghost once more, this time confined to the cold, sterile walls of a prison cell. The once vibrant man was now a shadow of his former self, lost in the monotony of prison life.
I find some closure in his conviction, but the experience, it's left an indelible mark. The nights are still restless, and the memories haunt me. Every legal document I signed felt like a step towards reclaiming my life, yet the scars remain.
Jessica found a sense of closure in his conviction, but the experience left an indelible mark. The courthouse, once a symbol of justice, now stood as a reminder of her ordeal. She was no longer the same naive, trusting woman. The world seemed different, more threatening. Every stranger was a potential threat, every shadow a reminder of her past. She was stronger, more resilient, but also more wary. Her strength was hard-earned, a result of countless battles fought within herself. She trained her body and mind, determined to never be caught off guard again.
The world can be a dark and dangerous place. I've seen its shadows, felt its cold grip, but I refuse to let it define me. I walk through those dark alleys with my head held high, knowing I am prepared for whatever comes my way. I'll never be a victim again. Each day is a testament to my resolve. Every drop of sweat, every moment of pain is a step towards reclaiming my power.
The scars remained, a reminder of her ordeal, but they also served as a testament to her strength and her will to survive. They were not just marks of pain, but symbols of her journey, her resilience, and her unyielding spirit.